Hey, what's going on, guys? So today I am coming at you with the Taurus G2C and the 40 caliber again. Right now, obviously, it is unloaded and clear, and there's no ammo in it. So what we're going to be doing today is getting rid of this crappy stock trigger, and we will be doing that with the Galloway Precision Asmond short stroke trigger. You can get it at gallowayprecision.com. It's like $24. So what you'll need to install it, you will need a 3/30 seconds punch, and you will need a 1/16 punch, a small flathead screwdriver, and a hammer, and a pair of tweezers, needle nose pliers maybe, and a roll of duct tape, a gun block, and or whatever tape you have handy, and that's about it. So let's get started. To disassemble the gun, you just slide back like you would a Glock and slide down here on the side and pull it forward and go ahead and release the slide. We don't need anything with the slide right now, so we're just going to set it off to the side. As you can see, you've got little pins in the side of your gun. One here, one there, and one there, and you're going to want to remove those in order to proceed. So to do that, that's where your tape comes in, and it just allows you to punch your pin straight through and not hit what you're trying to punch. So without any further ado, your locking block pin and your firing block pin are going to use the 3/30 seconds punch. So that's what you'll use, and you're just going to want to tap it lightly. And that's all there is to it. And as you can see, it pops through. I always suggest that if you punch your pins out to the right, push them back in the same way. So that took care of that, and as you can see, it's just a standard roll pin, and then you're going to want to use your 1/16 punch to remove this pin. And just give it a little tap like so, and push it out. Boy, that one's slippery. Standard needle nose pliers. This one was a lot tighter than mine, so let's go ahead and just pull that out. Man, that thing is really in there. Okay, so there we have that pin out there. We'll knock the last one out. Like so. And pull that one out. And actually, there you have it. All the pins are out. Now we're ready to pull the fire control mechanism out and the trigger mechanism. So when you do this, there is a little detent ball right down in there, and that is for the safety detent, so that your safety stays on and clicks off. So when you pull this out, make sure that you hold the safety lever to the fire control block, otherwise that little ball will spring out and you'll be searching for it, and you absolutely need that. So pry up on it evenly. And you can slide up underneath this little lever right like so. And there you have it. And I like to lift that up just a little bit. Now, before we go any further, take your flathead screwdriver, and or you can use your 1/16 punch, and right down in there in the lock block, push down on the little tab in the center, and you're going to want to slide your takedown lever out of the way before you do anything else. I find it easiest to set it like so. Push it down, and I like to just take a screwdriver and just kind of make sure that you don't release this, because there's a little plastic cap in there and you will absolutely need that. So just be cognizant of that. There it is, just like so. It's got a lot of that carbon dunk on it, and it can only go in one way. If you're holding the gun aiming at your target, it's fatter on the left side of the gun, so you can't really mess that up. And then release this ever so gently, and you'll see that you have a spring and a little plastic cap on there, and that cap is what you don't want to go flying everywhere. So that's why you like to hold that like so. And we'll set that like there. And the purpose of that cap is simply just to lock in to your slide release so that it doesn't fall out. That's all that is. And pop this bad boy up out of here. And it is very, surprisingly, very tight into the frame on the Taurus models. I personally take it like that, twist up with the screwdriver, and same thing on this side, and then get up underneath there, and you can just kind of start to slide it up, and then come back on the back side and pick up a little bit. And you want to be gentle, like I said. You don't want that ball detent to come out. So now we're just going to hold that right there, and we've got that popped up and out like so. And then you're going to take this, and we are going to pry up. And you kind of have to do it from side to side. It is very tight, like so. And pull up. And now your fire control mechanism is out of your pistol. And you can set that to the side, and you're done with your tape roll. Now, if you look on this side here, you have this little lever right here that just comes right off, and it's supposed to. It rests right on this post like that for when you're reinstalling. For now, we're just going to set it over there to the side, and you just take your trigger assembly and kind of flip it around like so, and that gets rid of that. And that's why you want to squeeze that. That's that ball down in there, and you don't want that to come out. So just kind of rest it like so, out of the way. And now you have your trigger assembly out, and now you're ready to push your trigger pin out right there, and that'll free up your trigger from the locking block, and then we can go ahead and replace the trigger. And that actually just pushes right out, quite easy actually. So there's your pin for your trigger. Set that one on a different side. I like to keep my pins separate. And you can just ever so gently pull your trigger out like so, and you can set your locking block off to the side. So now you have your trigger out like so, and this is your little safety that allows that to come down and, you know, free up there. I don't use the safety, so So now what you got is 2 more pins. One is for the safety blade and one is for the actual trigger. And you're gonna go ahead and push those out. And you'll do that like so. And I like to take mine and I like to push mine into the tape. That way it actually captures the pin. Top pin is for the safety blade and the bottom pin is for the trigger. And as you can see, your pin starts coming out. And that one's actually got a little bit tight, so I'll just go ahead and keep pounding it through. Yep. And there it is. So like so. And out comes that pin. And then that releases the trigger bar, or the trigger safety bar. So we'll just set that pin right there. And then we'll punch out this last pin. And I like to work it. Alright. And as you can see, that tape helps capture it. And then you can just go ahead and, if you look carefully how that spring is around there, it latches around that safety bar and then comes back down into there. Now this pin has a little knurling on it as well, so make sure that they go back in the right way. And then you can remove your thing and you can slide that all out the way like so. And your trigger bar is free. And then you can remove your actual trigger, stock trigger, and you can chunk it. Garbage. You get your Asmond short stroke trigger, and you can get that out. Now if you're reusing the safety, you can go ahead and put that back in now, and it would just go back up in there. And it's got a little notch in there for there, and you would lock everything back in, and your spring back in there, and that would keep your tension on the safety lever, if you will. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to. I'm not going to, so I'm actually going to put this back in like so. And one thing I will say, this spring is a pain in the butt. Stop that for just a second. Alright, so now we got that there. And we're gonna get this. And no, I like the design, but man, that spring is just a pain. And if you're uncomfortable and carrying a weapon without a trigger safety, just put the safety back on. I don't like it. Find it easiest, now see if you can see this on camera, to take that, take your little flat head right here, and you're to use the punch and push it down. I have not really found a good way. There's really no good way. It's just a matter of just getting it in there, and it is a pain. And where's my screwdriver? And I like to take it and try to push it. I think I've got it locked in there enough. Yes. So basically, as you can see, this pin goes through the spring and there's so much tension on it that it wants to actually cockeye up, so you have to force it down at the same time. It's kind of a pain. So just be cognizant of that while you're doing it. And a flathead screwdriver or a spring hook will do wonders. And I like to wiggle it down, and I find once you get it close, you can take some pliers and you can use a punch or whatever. I just like to do it this way. If you have a block, there you go. And that pushes it in. And then you can take your punch and now that pin is set, and you have your trigger bar, and you have removed your trigger safety, which I do not like. If you like it, by all means put it back on. We won't be doing that. We don't need it, but we're going to put this other pin back in just in the event that we ever do want to put the factory trigger back in. We have the pin for it. It's not holding anything, so you can just tap it in. I gave that one too. So that's it. Now your trigger is back on the trigger rod. Cool. Take your safety junk, and then you're going to want to take your trigger locking block, excuse me, I don't know why, in there like so. After getting your brain to wrap around what's going on, you can just slide this pin back in. Generally it just will slide once you find the hole. That's what she said. You don't really have to force it, just might want to tap it a little bit until you, if it isn't going in, make sure that the pin is coming out that hole. This pin is not hard, it just keeps moving. Now I punched it out the other side. So gently tap it. You can see you just want it coming out that side and that side. Yeah. There we go. And it should be flush on both sides, like so. Alright, so now you have that in. Alright, so then what you want to do is get your firing block assembly, bearing in mind to hold it tight so you don't lose that little ball. Take your lifter, and remember to put your lifter back on, like so, and then slide your trigger bar back in, and under there, like so. And now your trigger is back together. Put it back into the polymer frame. Like so. And block is very tight, so just be cognizant and aware of that. Alright. So once you get that seated in there like so, surprisingly really good. Alright, so now you have your assembly back in, your safety is working, and you've got all that good stuff. So now I like to put my slide release back. So just take that back down like so. And slide it like so. Get your little tape, set it like so. And get your tiny little punch. And remember, on this, you have the thicker side coming in, and push it down, and you just slide it in. And there you have it. And now you have your side takedown back in. And then we can put our pins back in. And we'll start with the rear. And then we'll use our frying pan. And then we'll put our locking block. Punch about flush with the other side, and you'll have it even on both sides, like so, and like that. Safety works, you know, that's good, so that's what you want. And once you know you have full function there, you can take your slide, put it back on. There's your reset, fire. Reset, fire. Reset, fire. And your double action. And that is how the Asmond short stroke trigger from Galloway Precision is installed. If you have any questions, comments, or need any assistance, I will do my best to help you. Just put it in the comments below. Do me a favor, share the video, like the video, and subscribe. The quicker we can get to 1,000 subscribers, the more we can do with the video, the better the channel is. I look forward to seeing you all the next time.